And with that, they were live. Alive. How? For the first, is this the first? Yeah, it's the first live stream of the week. Happy Tuesday to everyone. And hello, Fox of Fate and Megaleech. Nice to see you. I am then just fiddling with this foolish phone to try and work out what is it doing to me. Okay, because I cannot trust my laptop to tell me what I look like on the stream, so I like to quickly check. Where are we? There we are. Quickly check. Okay, I think that actually looks quite reasonable. We will just get the final. Oh yeah, that looks reasonable. That looks absolutely reasonable. Okay. Cool. Stupid fucking webcam and laptop. I never know what I look. When I used to adjust it so it looked okay on this laptop screen, it was just bizarre and dark for interwebs. I eventually learned to not trust what it looked like on this laptop. Just one of life's little foibles, really. So, yes, here we are, finding ourselves on No Bra Day, which, yes, Fox doesn't get much support, maybe. Doesn't give much support. Who knows? It's it's just one of those silly things. I'm always looking up, as someone declared today to be the day of something, and 99% of them are stupid. I rank this as one of the stupid ones. It's every now and then it's something worthwhile, but yeah, often not worthwhile's not a word I'd use for it. But we soldier on like brave little soldiers, because that's what soldiers do. Yeah. So yeah, I guess that's about all there is to it, really. We live in a world where good things don't happen. Like Trump hasn't fallen over and gone into a coma, which is a source of considerable disappointment to me, and I'm sure to many other people. But if he's really, truly not going to get sick after contracting the Rona, that is going to cost literally millions of lives, because his bullshit will get all the conspiracy fools and the anti-vaccination crowd saying it's not serious, and they won't obey restrictions, and the COVID-19 will spread out of control, and the death toll will ratchet up into the millions really quickly. Anyway, cheery thoughts. Catherine, you like to follow the instructions as a woman? See, Abigail, you need to consult your calendar on when you should and shouldn't be wearing a bra. Apparently, that's what the internet tells me. I just do what the internet tells me. Speaking of, day, National Day, International Day, I've got a couple sorted for next week for videos. Wait until Angry Bunch. Yeah. Mondays next week is Gin and Tonic Day, and it's Mezcal Day somewhere in the week as well. So, yeehaw! That's two out of my 3 cocktails sorted. I just have to decide what the third one is going to be. But I'm ahead of the game. If all this time in advance, I know what I'm going to do. So that's pretty good. Just have to decide what sort of gin and tonic I want to do, what gin I want to use, and what tonic I want to use. And if I want to do a variation or just a straight up gin and tonic. Yes, here you go. Abigail's agreeing. It's the after party. No, okay. Megaleech said angry bunch. Abigail said after party. Yes. All these wild and crazy things. Safi, you had to walk 10 kilometers to get home across the border since the bus doesn't cross the border anymore. Shit. Okay, that sucks. That veritably sucks. Usually takes a long time to walk 10 kilometers. It's a long time since I walked. I've walked further than that, yeah. And it was a hot day, Safa. Well, dude, that sucks. Honestly, that seems like a real pain. Quite honestly, that would be very frustrating. A long walk on a hot day. I think for whatever reason, well, I can tell you the story is not that interesting, but the longest walks I've ever done have been at night. Invisible Chicken, hello. How are you this fine day? I hope you're doing well. I hope everyone's doing well. We just got to sort of saunter on and do things. I mean, we're all wondering to what extent will our restrictions be relaxed in Melbourne as of Sunday, well, as of Monday next week. Dan Andrews just has to spend a few more, 5 more days playing what we call the straight bat, or even a dead bat, to basically have the journos get no reaction to their questions. So I'm just astonished that he does that day after day and just deflects. And they rarely get to him. It's absolutely astonishing. The number of times I'd be up there, and when they do, especially the fuckers from various Murdoch outlets, when they do their fuckery, I'd be hard pressed to not go in and they did their super question, go like, oh wait, I've got a question for you. Do you get fucking paid to do this? Because you suck. Invisible Chicken, you're working on an assignment on the Great Barrier Reef. Hurry up and finish before the reef is gone, okay? Oh, Safa, the vote of no confidence is just meaningless. The Victorian opposition are a steaming pile of shit. It's absolutely meaningless. Okay, Charlie, you're going to join in after dinner. That seems fair. Yes, Glee, there is some particularly shitty individuals in the press gallery for Andrews's things. But Credlin fucking sucks. She just goes she makes this long speech, which is when she's supposed to be asking a question, makes this long speech and just leaves it hanging. And then Andrews goes, do you have a question? And it's just like, it's so fucked. Chris, hey, how you going? So, well, yeah, see, it's slightly different having a vote in no confidence in a premier that was having a secret affair with a disgraced MP guilty of serious fraud shit. Celtic King, Toby said he saw VD. Wants to post the letter. Absolutely true. I cannot get it. And I won't be able to tell you till Sunday if I know I'm going to be able to get it. There are rumors, there are possibilities that travel restrictions, as in distance-wise, might get dropped after Sunday, but we don't know yet. Hellion, hello to you, Kirsten. Oh, you missed my news. I was looking at what are the days of coming up, Kirsten. Next Monday is Gin and Tonic Day, a day after your own heart. So yes. Yes, Clee, Dan didn't even go to the vote. Why would you? It's fucking pointless. It's stupid grandstanding. Charlie's making carrot radish beet slaw to go with fried chicken. Grown beets and radishes. Hot damn. Hot damn, that sounds good. Yes, Celtic King, there has been mail in my mailbox for a fucking long time, but I have not been able to go to my mailbox because it's too far away from my home. Actually, even if they say 10 kilometers, at the moment I'm not allowed to go more than 5 kilometers from home. Even if they expand that to 10 kilometers, I won't be able to, because 10 kilometers just barely gets me to the perimeter of the CBD. So I need them to do 20 kilometers or unlimited. So yeah. Chris, you did a nice ride down to the waterfront and back today. That does sound nice. Safi, you experienced cops letting people through on the Hume Highway without looking at their IDs. Oh, well. They're giving up, I guess. Guessing you have celebrations planned, breaking your Monday AFD rules. I assume that means something about not drinking. I am too thick to surmise what that acronym is. Alcohol-free drinks. Okay. I worked it out. Psst, psst, psst. Celtic King, why can't Australia Post forward the post to me? They maybe can, but it's real hard. Yeah, Costco's just over 10 kilometers away from me, Glee. Chris, they released contract tracing info for your county today. Is it even possible? I thought there were too many cases in the US to do any contact tracing. It's alcohol-free day. There you go. So it's like you only have alcohol-free drinks. Yes, Abigail, you are less than 5 kilometers from CBD. No, don't worry about it. It's not urgent. There's nothing urgent. It's just an observation that I haven't been able to do it. Yes, Catherine, apparently because the post office used to do a return to sender to the post office boxes after a certain amount of time, but they're not doing that at the moment because they know that people can't get to the post boxes. So it'll be there when I get there. Maybe next week. Who knows? Who knows? Who knows? Who knows? If we're lucky. Glee, did they release the forwarding information on Twitter? Oh, well, they didn't do much for their website when I looked. I tried to find info, and it was such a fucking pain that I gave up because nothing urgent anyway. Musically, it took me 18 days to get a registered letter to Sydney. Took 6 weeks to get that vest I ordered, but it did come from overseas, and I kind of expected it to take that long, or I thought there was a risk I wouldn't get it at all. Oh, okay. Sorry, Chris. They worked out how people are contracting the Rona in your area through community spread, houses, friends. Yeah. Coming home from bars, infected from home. One of the big issues we've had here is people having large family gatherings when they shouldn't. And there's 1 or 2 people at that large family gathering who are positive and don't know it, and they infect multiple other people at the party, and those people disperse and they interact with other people and infect other people. So it's the thing. It's a really fucking infectious disease, and it is super easy to spread. Like New South Wales has been dancing on the razor's edge for months. And every now and then a story comes out about someone who tested positive and when you hear about them, they sound like they're going to have had contact with a lot of people. And it's like, oh, fuck, is this the one? Is this the one that pushes them over the edge from 5 or 6 cases to 40 or 50 to then hundreds of cases? Who knows? Safra, I did see that story about the people gathering in one of the Jewish schools in my neighborhood, basically. And I know that's been a problem in New York too, with particularly Orthodox Jewish people, secretly gathering indoors in numbers because they believe their faith is more important than the public health orders. One of the reasons I don't like religion, really. There are fines for large gatherings in your areas, but there's all the states with the idiot governors who keep asserting it's not a big deal. I don't know. I feel like the fucking US is in a lot of trouble. Yes, Kirsten, it would not be fun to go into lockdown. Having moved from lockdown Victoria, suffered your 2 weeks quarantine in New South Wales, to then have that go back into quarantine would suck. Captain King, you've got a Portuguese Bible from the J-Dubs now. Nice. Oh, Glees, Trump is a super spreader. Absolutely. Chris, if you close the bars for months, you drop half cases. Yeah. It's like you're stuttering there, Chris, with those little half sentences. But yes, bad signs almost everywhere in Europe and India and the US and South Australia. Is that another one, Kirsten? A lot of Orthodox Jewish people don't like vaccines. So you get measles outbreaks in the communities. Yep, that's not good also. Safi, you took the mask off for your walk once you crossed the New South Wales border because it was so hot. Wearing a mask on a 10-kilometer walk would fucking suck balls. That not in a good way. No, that would absolutely not be good. Definitely not be good. So, Kirsten, gin and tonic Monday. What's because I obviously want to do a video for that, and I thought I'd ask you what's the best way to prepare a gin and tonic, because it isn't something I usually drink. You're used to masks, Chris? I mean, obviously you wear them anytime I go out because you need to. I mean, I don't like them, but you need to. And Chris, you wear a mask on the bike rides? Well, dude, better safe than sorry. I just worried about poor Safa, a 10-kilometer walk on a hot day. Jesus, no, that's not my idea of fun. Not my idea of fun at all. Had the mask on for about 6 kilometers. Damn, that's not good at all. So 1 part gin to 4 parts tonic. Yes, a gin tweak. I was looking at a site and they had a few gin and tonic variations. There was one that I thought was a bit of fun, a gin and sonic. It's the gin and tonic version of a Jaeger bomb. Like you have the tonic in the glass and the gin in a shot glass and you drop it in and then nick it. Having a bit of fun with a gin and tonic. I've got which tonics do I have? I've got Fever Tree Elderflower. Let's have a look. Tonics are all over here, I think. Good old Schweppes. No, I'll do something Fever Tree. I've got to have more Fever Tree. We've got Fever Tree Elderflower. That's weird. I thought I had more Fever Tree. Can't see any though. Elderflower, it looks like. I could go to the supermarket and get some more. Bye, Celtic. A fun garnish. See, I'm so lazy with garnishes. I almost never do garnishes. Invisible Chicken, you want to make a drink but don't have orange blossom water. Damn. I'm not even sure where to get orange blossom water. I mean, I know a lot of people think it's particularly good in a number of drinks, but Glee, you like the Jaeger bombs Chopper introduced you to. Strictly Sega, hello to you. Kirsten, you like the Cappy Dry on special at BWS. Well, I was probably going to go to a Woolworths supermarket tomorrow, so it'd be easy enough to drop into the BWS that's attached to it. If I have a salty gin, cherry tomatoes, and cracked black pepper sprinkled on top of the G&T. Is that what you're saying? I have a salty gin. I was about to say I have the coral gin. Yeah. Invisible Chicken, the drink's called a bushbird. All right. So yeah, okay. That's the liar's version of a jungle bird, of course. I'm guessing, actually. Strictly say a dreams cocktail with ocean spray raspberry. Not sure what that is. Glee, you like the idea of the savory drink? Yeah. Well, the on the scale of gins, one of the ones I have, the Oka coral gin, which is pink. Normal pink gins are on the sweeter side of the gin things, but this has got a different ingredient that's making it pink, and so it's on the gin spectrum. It's a bit salty. Chris, you like my juices? My semi-standard blood orange and lemonade. You got a strawberry lemonade, be very similar. Yeah. So, Kirsten, I assume you're saying for the garnish, a cherry tomato sort of on the rim of the glass and the cracked pepper sprinkled on it. Oh, Invisible Chicken, the jungle bird is different. Also good. Okay, I was guessing. Yeah, pour a lemonade, Chris. Why the hell not? I've made a whole bunch of clarified drinks because I was making all the cocktails for videos and get all these cocktails in the middle of the day that I want to drink in the middle of the day. So I put them in the thing and milk clarify them, and then I haven't been drinking them. So I actually have quite a volume of milk clarified punches that just have fucking everything and anything in them. And I haven't. I'm going to taste test them tonight, I think, because I haven't really even taste tested them. One I made had Advocaat in it, and I had so much trouble trying to actually do the clarification process with it. Oh, you chop the tomatoes in half and chuck it in. Okay, I get that. I might do that. I almost never bother to garnish things, but maybe I will do that for a change. Yes. So yeah, so I was sort of saying I was trying to clarify all these cocktails, and one of which had Advocaat in it, and it wasn't separating. Oh yeah, send me the gram photo. Yes, that would be fantastic, Kirsten. Yeah, and it wasn't separating like it's meant to. And then I worked out Advocaat probably has an additive in it to stop it from separating, because it's like egg and brandy base, and the egg would want to separate from the brandy. Like it's kind of like a custody booze, and there's probably an additive to stop it separating, which was stopping my milk clarification process. So I fucked around and did a few things, and finally did get it to filter. It's not really clear, but it's much lighter. And I haven't taste tested it. I think it's probably going to be quite sweet. We shall see. And there's another one that's got, so I forget what I put in it. It's got gin and scotch and things. Sometimes I feel like I should write these things down. Other times I'm like, why bother? It's not that big a deal. It's not that big a deal. But yes, the Scotchy one is a very brilliant sort of amber. It looks quite beautiful. The Advocaat one is yellow and just very slightly cloudy, not really clear, but I had so much trouble with it, I just left it at that. And I've still got one that I made a couple of weeks ago that has, it's quite red from blood orange juice. And it has mezcal and absinthe and a few other things in it. So yeah, it's quite good. But I'm gonna taste test some of them. Haven't had any drinkies since the Saturday Night Live stream. And what a good little boy I am. That's like 48 hours without drinking alcohol. I'm practically a saint. In fact, actually, 24, 48. It's 3 days. 3 days since I've had a drink. So it's 72 hours. Well, not quite 72 hours because I was drinking past midnight. 68 hours. 68 hours since I've had a drink. 66, maybe. No, I don't think I kept drinking all night. It's just like 68 hours. By the time I have a drink, it's 3 days, like 68 hours since I've had a drink. I feel that sounds like I'm really over-justifying it. I was playing after work today, before coming here, before having dinner. I was playing Barbie Horse Adventures for Boys, a.k.a. Red Dead Redemption 2. And it's just that classic, someone annoyed me in a town, there were punches, and someone called the law, and there was gunfire, and then I had a bounty on my head. It's like, oh, that's hardly fair. I thought he was stealing my horse, and it turns out his horse looks like mine. Mine horse was around the corner, and I thought I was meant to punch him because he was stealing my horse. Chris, Red Dead is fun. It is definitely fun. The controls, like the PS4, regularly feel overly complicated, and I can't get it to do what I want in a desperate shootout situation. But broadly speaking, it's fun, and the fun bits outweigh the stressful bits. Glee, be back later. Looking forward to seeing you later then. Oh, my fucking horse got killed. Fluffy. That's just what I named my horse. I was the place that's the deep south, where there's this fucking redneck gang who are basically stand-ins for the Ku Klux Klan. So you fucking kill them whenever you see them. And yeah, there's crossroads. These guys just came out of nowhere and attacked me. And so I'm like guns blazing, fuck you all. And one of them apparently had a Molotov cocktail, but I shot him and the Molotov cocktail exploded and he and his horse went up in flames. But there was a really close range and I was running through there and it was very chaotic. And I kind of thought, it looks like my horse is on fire. I jumped off my horse because I find it really hard to shoot people accurately when I'm on a horse. So I jumped off my horse and I shot like 3 more of these pricks. And then I went back to my horse and my horse was dead. So I think my horse was on fire. So poor Fluffy died. And I was an extremely long way away from anywhere with no fucking horse. And so I had to walk for ages to get back to a stable and get another horse. Invisible Chicken, you want to see Antebellum, speaking of racism. Yes, that looks interesting. I've seen little grabs of that movie, Antebellum, before the war, as is what that translates as. That's what the people in the South still have this really gross thing about how great the South was before the Civil War, built on the suffering and torture of we'll never know how many thousand people. I don't even know what the accurate number is. Hundreds of thousands? It's probably hundreds of thousands of enslaved people over the period of slavery. Ha, nice. Abigail. See, great minds think alike. You have a combat ship in Elite Dangerous named Fluffy. Chris, you found a fellow electric car charging. Nice. Bobo, is that real? If your horse dies, wait a few minutes and whistle and a scrawny nag shows up? Is that actually real? Because, like, at a certain point, I'm just going to fucking kill someone and take. I don't care if I lose honor. I'm just going to fucking kill someone and take their horse. And because always people are quite aggressive to you in that game quite often. I just okay, the first person who says a cross word to me, I'm going to fucking shoot them and take their horse. And I went on for quite a ways, and I hadn't killed anyone. And and then there was this guy by the side of the road, and it was like he was changing his horse's shoe. And I thought, right, I'm going to walk up to him, and if he's rude to me, I'm going to fucking shoot him and take his horse, because he's not even riding away. And just as I approached, he was like muttering about how difficult his horse was. And just as I approached him, his horse kicked him and killed him. And I was like, cool, I got his horse now. I don't even have to kill him because his own horse killed him. So that's like God. Safa, did Biden say he was running for Senate instead of the presidency? Oh, he's an old duffer, I think. Yes, Chris. Trump's hot. Trump is still the highest balls on whatever the fuck they're pumping into him. Jesus. I mean, I know he was always been sort of ridiculous at his rallies, but he was fucking high as balls. Thanks for that tip, Bobo. Hopefully I'm not going to kill any more horses, but I will try that. Strictly Say, you've been listening to a podcast called 6 Degrees of Song of the South. Talked about how that movie had characters singing about how days were better before the Civil War. Oh, yeah. And that had the Uncle Tom character in it. A happy black man who loved the Old South. That's possibly Disney's lowest point Song of the South, possibly. Some people would probably nominate some other Disney outings. Yes, Bobo, when Trump's saying he's going to kiss all the men and women in the crowd, high as a fucking kite. The dude was high as a fucking kite. Chopper's here for the titties. Nice. Well, I go bra-free most days with my bounteous bosoms. Nice. That's right, Strictly Sega. The crows in Dumbo. One of them was called Jim. Jim Crow laws. It's funny because it's racist. The crows are somewhat frowned upon by most people. Oh, yeah, well, Mar-a-Lago's in Florida, isn't it? We're talking about Trump having his official residence in Florida. That's that Mar-a-Lago. Oh, yes. Good call. Kirsten, if anyone wants to follow Kirsten's Gin Ventures Instagram, it's the Gin Cart AU. Definitely worth it. I don't take Instagram near seriously enough. Like, I'm just so shit at. There's a whole bunch of things I should be doing if I really wanted to promote my YouTube channel and get it out there to people, and I don't do it, and I've only got myself to fucking blame. And yes, Safa, Disney is a shady company. Absolutely. I love the reference to uh, uh, Disney being a real right winger because, of course, in The Simpsons, the company that makes Itchy and Scratchy is meant to be like Disney. And there was one reference to the founder of it and his great comics, and his one misstep was the 1932 short Nazi Supermen are our betters. Oh my god. Because for that, viral tweets selectively edited a speech made by. Sorry, I'm trying that again. Viral tweets selectively edited a speech by former VP to appear he suggested he was running for Senate. Unedited footage. Oh, right. Okay. Yeah, right wingers lying. Okay, fair enough. Thank you for clarifying that, Mega Leech, by the way. Strictly Sega, I'm not sure what came first. Actually, it would make sense that the laws came after the minstrel character, because then they would say the laws that were restricting what black people would do were because they were lazy Jim Crow characters. Kirsten, it's an excellent having an Insta, or in my case, a YouTube channel, is an excellent excuse to buy more booze. Invisible Chicken, you just started watching The Boys. The Boys is pretty intense. I finished season 2 on the weekend, and The Boys is in fact pretty intense. It's incredibly violent. Yeah. Oh yeah. Sorry, North Rise again. Birth of a Nation, but that's not a Disney film. Birth of a Nation is one of the most racist mainstream pieces of film in America. Possibly the most. I'm not that much of a scholar of racism in American cinema, but there is an extremely solid chance Birth of a Nation, the old black and white movie, is the most racist film produced in the mainstream of America. And yes, Abigail, I also finished Raised with Wolves last night. Absolutely a trip. Trippy as hell. Goes in a lot of directions I was never expecting. Trippy as hell, Raised by Wolves. Bobo, I did not see the Trump photo. No makeup on his hair. Okay, I'm quickly going to look up the news headlines because I feel like it would be there. Quickly looking for Trump with no. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear, dear. Let's have a look. Donald Trump tells Florida rally he feels powerful. Okay, I'm going to go just do a Google search. Trump, no makeup. New ad exposes bald Trump without makeup 18 hours ago. That's a Young Turks video. Yeah. Well, we've always based. I'm looking for a thing. Oh, it's a okay. Is it Photoshop? It's a Photoshop? Yeah, and yes, Annette, Trump is off his gourd. He's high as a fucking kite. Kirsten, you went to Manly Spirits on the weekend. You got to put up the post before your husband drinks too much. Good plan. Oh, yeah, Abigail, you never said what? Raised by Wolves was the first time you said what the fuck while watching a TV show. It's pretty intense. And Silumi, hello. How are you? Oh, that's a random. Was that a new or old quote from Tim Burton? Because I feel like it's a really old quote. He's a shithead saying that he never casts people of color because they don't fit his aesthetic. It's just like saying, and what I love is saying that also. And people say, that doesn't mean he's racist. Yes, it does. It really fucking means he's racist. But second, his racism is so ingrained, he doesn't realize making an obnoxious statement like that really reveals his racism. Like his racism is so ingrained, he doesn't realize what he's given away. But yeah, so and I saw someone else talking about it too, so I wasn't sure if it had come up again. Silumi made banana bread and pumpkin spice biscuits and syrup coming up this week. God damn. Yes, well enough to bake. That's excellent. And Annette, you've been watching a Polish show that's like a Polish version of Twin Peaks. Wow, that sounds pretty wild. Well gifted Aspies, bonjour to you. Yeah, that actually sounds pretty weird. As David Lynch's problem was he was ahead of his time. Like all the things people do with TV shows now to try and stretch them out forever is what he'd wanted to do in the 90s, but the studio execs wouldn't let him because it was too fucking weird. Whereas now they'd fall over themselves for it. And yes, so I mean, that's why it's very obvious Tim Burton is racist, because his aesthetic would absolutely work with people of color. Him saying something like that is just some really fucking dumb, ingrained racism. Wow. Lee, someone from Bratva stopped some boys from robbing you on a bus today. Well, I'm glad they got stopped. It sounds like it's pretty intense anyway. Strictly Sega, Dorman wasn't bad. It was Die Hard, but a woman mixed martial arts. Free Fire was okay. You like the cast. I don't think I know either of those. So, what else have I been watching? I'm not binging it. I'm like watching 1 or 2 episodes a week of the recent Perry Mason series, which is very nicely done. It's like Perry Mason origin story. What else is there? Netflix type things. Like I said, I finished watching The Boys on Prime. There's a few others floating about that I want to have a look at, but Yeah, Megaleech, I know the White House physician said Trump has tested negative for COVID-19 on consecutive days and is not as infectious, but they fucking lie. It's just like, whatever. Strictly Sega, yes, I have seen Shoot 'em Up with Clive Owen. I actually have that on disc. It's good fun because it's so over the top. It's very over the top. And it maintains its tone. It's quite good. But yes, Silumi Uri watching Criminal Minds. Well, yeah, I haven't watched that in years. I think, what else have I been watching? I don't know. Brain's not holding things. I like I said, I played Barbie Horse Adventures. That's all I'm thinking of. Oh yeah, I don't remember. It was so long ago I watched Shoot 'em Up. I don't remember the soundtrack. Taking your word for it that it's good though. Yeah, I've got. Then there's a bunch of movies I want to watch that are on the streaming services now, and I haven't been putting much time into watching things. So this is the thing. With trying to do stuff with YouTube and maybe occasionally playing the video game and watching TV, it's very hard to do a lot of all three. You maybe do two, like do the YouTube and watch TV, but not play video games, or YouTube and play video games but not watch TV. Not enough hours to do three of them. Lee, you walked past a hotel being guarded by police and military this morning. Said the hotel was a red zone. Wonder what the hell that means. So it's good, but simplistic in its approach to criminal psychology and profiling. Oh, right. So now you've actually studied criminology, it's a bit grating. It's kind of like whatever your profession is, if your profession is featured in a TV show or movie, 99 times out of 100, you're just going to go, oh, that's fucking terrible. That is fucking terrible. Because it's aimed at people who know nothing about the topic, not at people who know lots. Oh, wow, that's old school, Strictly Saggy. You watched A Star is Born with Judy Garland. Quarter of the film was missing, just dialogue and pictures. Really odd. Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah, Abigail's watching YouTube playing computer games is going to limit what you can do. Similarly, like nurses who love trash medical shows. Yeah, but they're probably pissing themselves at the inaccuracies in the show too. Like, yeah, we totally get, yeah, no, that's, patients are like that. Yep. Oh yeah, doctors are definitely like that. Absolutely. Yes. Like Mrs. Angry, she's a psychologist. She finds it very difficult to watch shows that have psychologists or psychiatrists or counselors in them because she'll just go, you can't fucking do that. Although she did like the TV series with Gabriel Byrne called In Treatment. So there you go. Okay, Kirsten, red hotels are the ones that have the Rona cases inside. They're not sick enough to be in hospital. The people are in isolation. Yeah. Yeah, Abigail, programming, computer, IT shit on TV shows. Programmers are ridiculous. Ah, you like it on Black Mirror and Ready Player One. Okay. Yeah, every now and then I'm really tempted to rewatch Black Mirror. But it's like, oh, it's really good and I'd enjoy rewatching it. But there's so much stuff that I haven't actually watched and finding time to do it. Yeah. So, Libby, you couldn't watch Suits because just in the pilot episode, they broke too many laws. Damn. Invisible Chicken, that's an interesting one. Your dad worked in fashion and loved The Devil's Wear Prada. I actually heard that that was a pretty, like, accurate depiction of Anna Wintour and that world that she went in. It's 21 days in quarantine if you test positive. Okay. All right. Strictly taken, 90s movies, when someone hacks them, unless it's the movie Hackers, which is class. That is a class movie. Young Angelina Jolie. That's not the only reason I like it. All right. I am going to get glass out of the freezer and hey ho. Been messing around with stuff. My chocolate R2D2. I showed you this? My chocolate R2D2. I haven't had the heart to eat it since Easter. And now the chocolate's probably yucky. Probably was always yucky, actually. So I get my magic ice. All right, I'm going to do this one first. So this one, that looks like a urine sample from someone who's poorly hydrated or maybe has a urinary tract infection. Yeah, Kirsten, yeah, The Devil Wears Prada was actually written by someone who worked with Anna Wintour. Yeah. So I've heard it's pretty accurate. So we pour this drink into a beautiful clear ice. This had, like I said, I forgot what I put in this. It's got scotch. I remember I used up the little bit of scotch I had left in it. Scotch and gin and a few other things. Chris, you saw a man running with your buddy, brought over in reverse. Oh, that's okay. Silly me. You cut the pumpkin up now or leave it to tomorrow when you plan to roast it. Decisions. Yes, that's it, Megalith. Trock2D2 is who that is. Trixie, like Fisher Stevens in Hackers. They're all pretty funny. Like bloody Tommy, Johnny Lee Miller. See, my invisible ice. No, you can't because it's invisible. Always love showing off my invisible ice. I'm very impressed with how it's turned out. Now, this is my first proper taste of this one, actually. I put an Amaro in this too, just for fun. I can taste that. God, just the different flavors, because I just put everything in there. There's fruity flavors. Really tasting the bitter Amaro, actually. This is what happens when I just chuck shit together. Hecko through, and if you're in a hotel quarantine, do you get on-demand movies, etc., or do you have to pay for it? Yeah, actually, Kirsten could answer that for us. Did they provide you anything in the hotel room? Oh, yeah, Strictly Sega. Matthew Lillard was pretty funny in Hackers too. Yes. Okay, so you had to buy the movie package. And then on day 12 or 13, they were like, never mind, movies are free. It's a weird and complicated world that we live in at the moment. Just got to do our best with the weirdness, I suppose. This might, I know, with a bit of, this might work as a highball, actually. Top it with soda or something. And you were able to watch Netflix on free Wi-Fi. Well, that's okay. As long as I had the free Wi-Fi. It's such a funny taste. I don't dislike it. Yeah, but I think I just randomly chucked shit together in that one. Which is a weird thing. I think I can still taste the gin in it too, actually. The herbal. I don't know if that's just the Amaro I'm tasting. It feels like botanicals from gin in it as well. But yeah, it's it's a really weird drink. It's not bad. It's just odd. It's this melange of flavors. Because you were just mostly watching historical costume YouTube and these streams. You can get anything on YouTube. I love it. And once you get into a particular thing and you find it and you go like, oh, here's a thing that I didn't know existed that millions upon millions of people watch. It's wild. But it's like, you know, I said in the olden days before the internet, you know, niches, you just sort of, if you're a niche at whatever you did, it was like you just had to struggle to reach anyone, and you know, this is only of interest to this many people. But when the potential audience is the entire world, or a very significant proportion of the entire world, a niche becomes millions of people. And it's like, wow, okay. You can be very niche in your interests, but so long as you're good at it and are interesting, you can find millions of people in your audience with really niche material. So, because there are a lot of people in the world. Yeah, I should probably write down what I put in these. I think because there was scotch in there, there's a little bit of smokiness from the scotch that so it wasn't a peated scotch, but scotch whiskey is just a bit smokier than other whiskies anyway. It's just because I put everything in there. There's tastes of 10 different things in there because I put 10 different things in it. And then you get the whole the milk aspect of it as well. The whey is in here, and yeah, I don't mind it at all. It's all the flavors. It is all the flavors. Very weird, but at least it's a good color. I quite like the color because before I clarified it, it was like an opaque brown. Now it's this brilliant amber color. So that's enough of that one. One little taste. It is so hard to place an individual taste in that because I put so much in it. Okay, Charlie, you've had dinner. Now it's Ludo's turn for dinner. Yes, that feisty boy to settle down with some dinner and be happy. It's what you got to do. But yes, it's a strange old world we live in. I still think probably the strangest story in local politics this week is the New South Wales Premier getting outed as having an affair with the disgraced MP who, like, you know, in serious corruption land. And unless I misunderstood the story, she didn't break off the relationship with him when she made him quit. Like, she said, no, you're corrupt as fuck. You need to get out of the Liberal Party and fuck off out of Parliament, really. And unless I'm misunderstanding the story, she did that, but kept up the relationship. Which, if that is what happened, that does my head in. That she could think that was reasonable, but it's like, if that's what happened, the dude was super corrupt, and she said to him, "You have to resign. You have to fuck off." But she kept up the relationship. I'm just going, man, how good was the sex? Like, because you'd have to either be completely delusional, or so, and you know, the quality sex made you delusional, or you knew it was obviously a very bad and wrong thing to do, but the sex was so good you kept doing it. Which it is. Chick say your brother-in-law's going on frog on a sock. I assume your brother-in-law pays a lot of attention to Murdoch media in that case. It was very interesting. The most senior public servant quit on the weekend. The head of the Premier's department, because it turns out he'd probably been lying. He claims he wasn't, but there was a change because there's this whole thing. Okay, we had a big outbreak of the virus because of poorly handled hotel quarantine, and the shameless lying fucks in the Liberal Party and the Murdoch media. It was like, oh, why did you use private contractors? Why didn't you use the cops or the army? Whereas, again, as I always say, if you could go back in time and have, when people were going to be quarantined in the hotels, if Dan Andrews came out and said, we're not using private security on the hotels and the cops don't want to do it, so the army's going to be guarding everyone because I don't think private companies are trustworthy. And the Liberals and the Murdoch media would have lost their fucking mind and said, how dare you insult the good and honest people of the security industry, and you want to use the army on free citizens? They're not enemy soldiers. What's wrong with you? They're just so fucked, it makes me sick. But what happened? There was like the meeting with the federal government happened, and at some point, the public servant who was with Dan Andrews left. He went out, and when he left, he got a call from the police minister or the police chief, which he appears to have obfuscated earlier. And then he potentially talked to the Premier's head of staff as well and went on. And the Murdoch hacks and the Liberal Party are trying to say, that's proof he's lying. He's the one who said, don't use the army, use private security. And it's like, no. And that was the thing when I think it was Peter Credlin who was just going on these long monologues in the presser and then not having a question at the end of them, just going, it's this chain of events, it's this chain of events, gotcha, it's this chain of events. And then Andrews went, no, that's not what happened. So it's kind of like these fuckheads at Sky News all got together and went, well, there was this, and then there was this, and then there was this, and then when there was this. Now, if we say those were all definitely interconnected with cause and effect, then we can posit that this is what happened, and that proves he was lying because we've come up with this master plan. And the only way this master plan could fall apart is if he just says, no, that didn't happen. And so she presents the big case, and he's went, that didn't happen. And it's just like, oh, fucking hell. Jesus, you fucking clowns. But yeah, it was really quite bizarre to see Credlin trying to come up with this massive conspiracy, and Andrew's just saying, you're just saying stuff that's not true. Just like, curses foiled again by the fact there's no evidence whatsoever to support this theory that we've come up with. We've just come up with disparate things, decided they are all definitely connected, and they're not loosely connected. They're all cause and effect, and therefore we're proving our case. Except the response was, no, that isn't true. It's just like, Jesus Christ, what a shit show. It's just like those people, fucking journos, are so fucking arrogant and so self-absorbed, and they appear completely oblivious of the degree to which a sizable chunk of the population just holds them in contempt. It's just a fucking shit show. It's just, if it wasn't dangerous, it would just be an embarrassment. But it is dangerous. It's destructive to democracy. And ever since they got Labour to spill the fucking Prime Minister twice, and then they got the Libs to spill as well, the media have been drunk on the idea that they have the power to get politicians. And of course, it's happened in the past as well. The media's put up a big thing of trying to get rid of politicians, and it occasionally works, and they fucking love it when it works. They love it when it works. Ooh, Salumi, you go after a friend stream. Thank you for dropping by. hopefully catch you again soon. No, strictly separate. Libspill in New South Wales. This one absolute fucking piece of shit. And what's his name? Tim Smith. He's an absolute cunt. Is doing this fucking Trump style shit talking, and like he's contemptible. He's absolute garbage, and he is clearly jockeying to knock off the current head of the Liberal Party, who is fucking terrible. They're both fucking terrible. They like suck so much. And yes, Chris, media generally is shit. All right, I'm going to taste test the other drinky poos. Put this one back. Now, this is the one that gave me all the grief. Ugh. This has Advocaat in it. So you can see it's a bit clear. Or actually, the bottle's frosty. That's probably all you're seeing. Anyway, pour that in the glass with the magic ice. Because this glass isn't frosty anymore. Well, this looks cool. Hey, Philo and Sila. Look, this one just looks clear now. That's cool. Charlie, you want to do Angry Bunch? Well, you could do Angry Bunch. Why not? We haven't done Angry Bunch since those many years ago on Saturday night. Invite. Clip. Okay. Angry Bunching it up. Anyone who wants to join, there is the link. North, the weird thing is when I think about people running Disney have the same mindset. So there's George Lucas. George Lucas got $1 billion. Don't pity George Lucas. Charlie's taking the bins out. Very responsible. Tomorrow night's bin night for me. So, okay, that's the one I worried wasn't very clear. It looks very clear in there, doesn't it? Yeah, look at that. Super clear. And it was prior to the clarification. It was just, well, it was Advocaat. You know what Advocaat is? Like custard. It was basically like custard before I clarified it. So I haven't had a proper taste of this one. Ooh. Okay, it tastes like I put a lot of lemon juice in here. Wow. It's like lemon cheesecake almost. English is a good idea on no bra day. Maybe, maybe not. Abigail, hi.
Hi.
How you doing?
I sincerely apologize about the awful cold sore that I have at the moment. I hope everyone can not mention it after this. But yeah, it's noteworthy for me because I've only ever had one other cold sore in my entire life.
Wow.
This is number 2. The last one was about 10 years ago. So yeah, they're very rare for me. So it's like, what the fuck is going on? I hate this.
Stress, probably.
Stress and lack of sleep.
Hello. I may have no bra on, but I am fully dressed.
I am 100% wearing a bra right now.
That's fine. And the cold sore isn't actually visible, Abigail. So
good. I can see it. I can see it on the stream right now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right, Shannon, just in case you want to join as well, I'm putting the link on Facebook.
Yep.
Facebook.
Yeah. So yeah, I had cold sores as a kid, and they went away, but very rarely they come back. Usually at the time of stress.
Yeah, it was totally stress related and more lack of sleep than stress. I'm not really that stressed out, but
it's
lack of sleep and for sure.
Yeah, my GP were trying to tell me I'm stressed out. It's like, dude, I can't balance and I'm falling over. I'm like, you wonder why I dressed out? I'm calm, but they keep me walking straight and then I won't stop stressing. Oh yeah, you won't let me go to bloody video. So, yeah.
And Grasshopper,
Hi,
hello.
Grasshopper, how's it going?
Good evening, peoples. How are we?
Good.
We are
good.
good. We are good.
So Annette's calling it No Boulder Holder Day. So over the shoulder boulder holder.
Do you know the bra brand Hestia?
Yes.
Yes.
Do you know how they actually got their name?
How did they get their name?
It's an acronym for Holds Every Size Tit in Australia.
I feel like that's probably not
is that
true,
for
but I
real
love
or
it.
is that an urban myth?
It's something that I read somewhere that said that it was real, and I've just accepted it as real because it's too funny not to be.
It's real now.
Yeah, it's real now. Yeah,
It's real now.
It's too Aussie not to be real.
Well, although I do remember the first big bra brand in Australia, Burley, which is spelled Berlei. It was actually, the founder's name was Burley, but his was spelled EY, and they said that just sounds so unfeminine, Burley bras, and so they changed to EI, and they thought that sounded really French, and they went with that. So
yeah, that sounds better. Yeah.
Well,
the Burley woman bra.
Well, I am following the rules of today. I'm not wearing a bra today, so
Yeah.
I would pay money to see you wearing a bra.
I don't think the moobs are quite big enough, I'm afraid, Abigail. I don't think they're quite big enough. They're getting there, but they're not quite big enough.
Work in progress. Work in progress.
Indeed. Oh, goodness. So how was date night, Angry Aussie?
Yeah.
It wasn't date. Well, we were watching TV, sorry. Monday. This Saturday's date night. No, we watched the end of Raised by Wolves, which, as we're saying with Abigail, is trippy as hell. It's so
yeah.
People keep on telling me that I need to watch that, but I don't have a HBO subscription, so
I don't either.
yes,
I hear you, Abby, loud and clear.
Yeah. I actually do have the Foxtel subscription. Yeah,
I do have Amazon Prime though, which is how I watched The Boys.
I buggered off my Amazon Prime. I watched what was it? Bloody Good Omens.
Yeah,
yep.
That's one of the reasons. Like, I got it when Star Trek Disco's. No, which one was on?
Picard.
Yeah, so it wasn't Picard. There must have been something that was on that was finally on. Anyway, but yeah, I watched Good Omens and American Gods, and there was something else, I'm sure. Like, I finally got Netflix when Disco was on it. Star Trek Disco was on it. But there was something that made me get. I don't think it was Good Omens. Maybe it was. But yeah, I watched Good Omens, American Gods, Picard, The Boys more recently, and quite a few others. Upload I thought was cute. It's very lightweight compared to some of the others, but it's like an afterlife in an online world. People's consciousness gets uploaded. Oh yes, that's another one. Mega Leech, The Expanse.
Oh god, The Expanse is so good. Oh,
New season in December.
I love The Expanse so much. I'm such a big fan.
I've watched some of The Expanse. It's actually pretty good. It hasn't the series have, but I have enjoyed it.
I just anything that's hard sci-fi with like lots of realism just gets me every time, especially if it's in space. Although I have spotted quite a few scientific inaccuracies in the show.
Oh
I'm
no!
Not talking about the Epstein drive, more about the orbits and the travel times and
okay,
stuff like that. Yeah.
No, apparently Stephen Hawking, was it Stephen Hawking or Neil deGrasse Tyson? It was one of the two. Wrote a thank you note to Joss Whedon about Serenity, and said, "Thank you, finally, a spaceship that doesn't make a noise in the space."
Yeah. It's just because it's too boring. Lasers not making a noise is too boring. And
I dig it every time. I think it's just it doesn't like to hear noises in space just takes me out of the immersion because it's so not real. And every time there's a movie or a show with like silence of space, it's just so great. And
and you could actually use that to your advantage, the silence of space, to ramp up tension if it's done right.
Well placed silence. Like in the movie Serenity, when he sorry, spoilers alert for anybody that hasn't seen it.
For a 10-year-old show,
when he blows up the Reaver ship as he's trying to get all of the Reavers to chase him out of the planet. You know, they use the silence of that as a great tension build-up. So you're 100% on the money there, Catherine. Although I will say that as scientifically illiterate as it is still awesome to hear that whir sound of the Voyager spacecraft when it's about to go into warp when the pylons come up. I love that sound.
Yeah, I guess.
You can get away with it like in
Flappy Voyager.
You have to use your imagination, like Star Wars type stuff. The noises are like, you know, the pilots would hear a noise because the ships would vibrate. And but yes, if you were outside them, they would just be silently whipping. But
also, the way the ships fly in Star Wars is just
makes no sense.
In space, it makes no sense. Yeah,
that's what I liked about Battlestar Galactica. They actually played with that, and the ships had all those little thrusters all over the thing to control their
flying backwards, and
they used projectile weapons, not pew-pews, which I quite like. Because projectile weapons in space would fuck you up if projectiles came smashing into you at a hypersonic speed. They would rip straight through your craft and.
Although they were all in the same inertial reference frame, so they were just like any other gun. But like if they were in different inertial reference frames and at like vastly different velocities, absolutely kinetic kill weapons.
A guy that I used to know.
But the good thing about pew-pew lasers in space is that the laser beams aren't attenuated as much because it's a vacuum. So you would be shooting people over vast kilometers of distance. You wouldn't even be able to see them. It'd be like over the horizon kind of stuff. But what's a laser beam going to do? Heat up your vessel a little bit. Spaceships already have to deal with a lot of heat because a vacuum is an insulator. So like heat is a huge problem in space. Because of the vacuum of space, even though it's cold, it's an insulator. So spaceships can overheat a lot, like in theory. So
Abigail,
my brain
I don't
tangent here.
Sorry, I don't mean to concern you, but your note is showing.
Yeah. Look, get me started on space. You cannot stop me.
Hey,
my question is, how would you steer actual physical metal missiles in space? You shoot them. Where on earth are they going to go gravitational-wise? You shoot them out from the ship, and what does that ship move? They're just going to keep on bloody going.
Well, I mean, it's sort of like give yourself like a target-seeking missile on any kind of aircraft that's earthbound right now. You can set in GPS coordinates and away it goes. But
at least in the gravity well of a planet like Earth, the missile or projectile will just fall to Earth. But in space, that thing just keeps going, and it could be
going. That's my point.
Months, years, decades, millennia. Eventually, it's going to hit something.
Yeah, eventually. You know, a good friend of mine who was my best mate for many years, who's no longer with us, unfortunately. He was a huge fan of Babylon 5. And one of the things that he loved the most about Babylon 5... Hey, Charlie!
Hey, Charlie!
One of the things that he loved the most about Babylon 5 is that every character that was in that series, apparently, the guy that created the series wrote a way for them to be able to leave the series. Yeah, he
Oh.
wrote in a way for an exit for each of them, just in case something happened, or if they wanted to write the character off for whatever reason or whatever. This was something that was there before they even shot the first episode.
Oh, look, the entire show was
brilliant.
written. The entire show was written before the first episode started filming, and that's why it was just so good, and that's why they could carry on plot lines across whole seasons, even like little threads here and there, just like they all link up at the end. It was absolutely brilliant. They did have filler episodes though, but yeah, it was just so brilliantly written. And I really hope that the remake that I keep hearing about is true, because seeing that in glorious HD modern CG would be amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
but did that have the
as long as
original
J. Michael Straczynski is in the writer's room. Sorry?
Say again, Catherine?
Did that have the original 22 episode format? Because if you're using the original 22, 24 episode format, you're always going to have filler episodes.
Fillers and bottle episodes. Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I like filler episodes. I love the 13 episode seasons. You can get much more story.
There's always one or two episodes in every show.
Amazing bottle episodes. Even like the Drumhead, which is one of the most awesome episodes of TNG ever, was a bottle episode, low budget. It was all character and dialogue driven, and it was amazing. So just because it's a bottle episode doesn't mean it's a bad episode.
Almost every TV show out there has got one or two episodes throughout its lifespan that is full of nothing but flashbacks of the previous episodes.
Oh, clip shows.
Shows.
Even TNG wasn't immune to that, but that was because of a writer's strike.
Oh, he's on the couch. Ludo.
But they're the always. I always skip those episodes.
Something Glee raised in the chat, although she was just asking where Charlie's puppy was, but we also want a nice peaceful game. Now, honestly, you could probably just search on Google and say peaceful video game. There was one, I forget what it's called, but it mainly involved you roaming around the forest, and in the standard version of the game, you were at risk of being attacked by predators. But
that's called the forest.
Yeah, I think so. And there's a mode called Zen mode you can set in, and nothing will attack you, and you can just walk through the forest and enjoy this beautiful scenery.
What about Animal Crossing?
Animal Crossing?
That's pretty peaceful.
For a 4-year-old?
I don't know.
Or you could do Microsoft Flight Sim.
Yeah.
2020.
maybe not 2020.
Here he comes. Here he is.
Oh my God, here he is.
Ludo.
Happy times.
Stardew Valley is quite nice too. But it's like, again, for a 4-year-old, you need something really simple.
Stardew Valley is just a knockoff of Harvest Moon.
Wow, but
which is now called Story of Seasons, because there was this whole copyright kerfuffle.
One of the games that was one of the longest running that was made by a company called Supercell, who made like Clash Royale and Clash of Clans and all of that sort of stuff. They ran Farmville, I think it was, or no, Heyday. Heyday, it was. Sorry, on Facebook.
Many farm games,
and they've stopped all of the updates and everything, and the servers for Heyday going down, and people are losing their fracking minds. Apparently, that game is still stupendously popular.
Oh, really?
I had no idea.
Yeah.
Wow.
But
I heard today. I was today years old when I heard that the makers of what is it? Among Us. They're not making. They were going to make a sequel because the game's like 2-4 years old.
Oh yeah.
They were going to make a sequel, but instead, what they're going to do, because of all this new popularity, they've dropped the sequel and they're going to focus all their attention on this game. So to make it really like much better, which is awesome, because
I still haven't played that.
I have a group of have a group of friends we play regularly. So
We
if you'd like, I'll we talk on Discord. So
we play it at my
need
lands.
Discord.
Yeah, we play it at my lands.
Yeah.
And it's always a lot of fun. Mainly because you're all in the same room and you can all kind of scream at each other that you're the killer. No, I'm not. Yes, you are.
Oh.
So people saying she got to level 700 on Farmville. So
geez.
She had a very boring government job at that point. Yeah.
I used to see that you used to play The Simpsons Tapped Out. Do you still play that anymore?
Do I still play Simpsons Tapped Out?
You still do? I stopped. I can't even remember why I stopped, but I stopped.
Yeah, I still play.
300 or 400 characters in the town now, and about 100 buildings, and
yeah, no, my town needs a full overhaul, but I don't have the time to redo everything.
Idiot.
So I think that honestly, the writing for Simpsons Tapped Out is better than the writing on The Simpsons these days.
Yes, yes, it really is.
Sit down.
But
Good boy.
yeah, I still kind of tap on it a couple times a day, get everything, run the jobs, then and then semi-regularly they have special event stuff where you got to play more often to get all the bonus stuff that they put in for a couple of weeks.
That's
I enjoyed all coming up on their Halloween bonuses.
Yeah, Halloween.
Did you all see what some smart ass has done on Wikipedia today?
What did they do?
The Wikipedia page for Daryl Maguire, the guy that's going through that whole ICAC hearing at the moment.
Yeah.
And it's got all of the details for him, and it says spouses: Maureen Maguire, divorced; Gladys Bin Chicken, 2015 to 2020.
Damn.
I'm surprised they didn't say Gladys Koala Killer Bin Chicken.
It should be. It should be.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm so glad that took off.
I was just going to say, for a while, I got really into Neko Atsume.
Neko Atsume.
The kitty collector.
Yeah. So did I. Absolutely.
Yeah, a friend of mine.
I got some of the really rare cats as well, the presents. So
a friend of mine, she's all about the Yoi anime. And she has got she has got so many different characters that she's bought and whatnot. It's her absolute obsession, and it is creepily awesome.
Yeah.
It was yesterday I actually got into a couple of very small, but nonetheless verbal altercations, basically telling people that if Gladys has a personal life outside of politics, that's actually okay. It was who she was in a relationship with after the information came to light is the problem.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. How good was the sex? The fact that she would continue on a relationship with a dude.
I honestly don't think it was about that. I think corruption is so normalized in the Liberal Party that they had to fire him because of public perception only. Why would something as simple as corruption ruin a relationship? Because everyone's corrupt in the Liberal Party. He just got kicked out.
Yeah. Careful on that one though, Abigail, because you know that there's going to be one person that's going to come up and go, but all of everyone in all of politics is corrupt. Everyone. So it doesn't matter. Oh God, I fucking hate that mentality.
I hate that too.
Sort of like that idiot that we had a couple of nights ago.
Yeah, because I'm old enough to remember Neville Wran as Premier of New South Wales, where corruption and crime was organised crime actually got entrenched in New South Wales by the previous Liberal Premier, but it became a well-oiled machine under Nifty Nev. But he was notoriously litigious. If you'd ever said anything like, I kind of think you're involved with mobsters, he would sue him fucking ground.
Holy shit!
But he's fucking dead now. So
I was going to say, don't talk about corruption to a Queenslander. Remember Joe Bjelke-Peterson?
Exactly.
Oh,
Speaking of institutionalized.
I was going to make some very poor joke about that. I was going to be like, Angry, you're talking about that to a Queenslander with Bjelke-Peterson?
But Bjelke-Peterson was a hayseed. Neville Rand was a big city fucking organized criminal. And he was premier for a long time. And when he finally went out, and when Labor lost power, Nick Greiner, the Liberal premier, introduced an independent commission against corruption. And the whole thing was go after Labor because, there was lots of corruption to be found there. But the hilarious thing was it was an independent commission against corruption. And Nick Greiner thought they'd chase after old corruption. But him and his National Party cronies were doing current happening then corruption. And stuff was getting said to ICAC, and they're going, let's investigate that. And the Nationals in particular are going, what? No, you're meant to investigate Labor. We're independent and you're committing crimes now. So that's a bit more of an imperative. It was hilarious that it backfired because you actually set up an independent commission and then you started doing crimes.
Yeah, I didn't see how that would happen.
Yeah, don't do crimes. Don't do crimes if you're setting up an investigative body. Don't do crimes.
It seems to be a thing amongst the Liberal Party. Their complete lack of anything to do with foresight or hindsight has always been something that's absolutely amazing. Bloody Abbott coming in and saying that it was thanks to his government that the corruption or the Royal Commission, into sexual abuse from the church was his government's achievement. And it's like, excuse me, fuckface, you did not, you stood in the fucking road of that, you piece of shit. And then
this is the man who stands by Cardinal Pell.
And then you've got
eventually when he got to the rich people's court, he had his conviction overturned. So justice served.
It's amazing. I screamed that was going to happen, and everybody was like, no, the judge was so lenient with him so that can't happen. I'm like, no, the moment that he gets to the court that he wants to go to, it's going to get thrown out. He's going to be allowed out. I guarantee fucking to it.
Yeah. And now he's in the Vatican.
Yeah.
Well, of course he's going to hide out in the Vatican. I mean, piece of shit. No, it was the same as Turnbull coming out and saying that it was his government that got same-sex marriage through. That's complete fucking bullshit.
Oh, yeah. Every time I see, the Liberal Party actually have the gall to operate a large stand at Midsummer Carnival. Midsummer Carnival Day in the city. It's a big gay and lesbian queer event here in Melbourne. And they have the gall to not only set up a stall, but promote that they brought in same-sex marriage. And people have literally thrown shit at them. Assaulted people at the stand.
That was.
I'm sorry, but
that was the thing at Sydney Mardi Gras. They had there was an LNP float, and everyone was just booing them and throwing shit and just trying to block them off.
Up until the point
that
I was thinking, what the fuck were they thinking? And getting the fuck out of Dodge. That's what I was going to say. Anybody that is stupid enough to stand there at an LNP float at a gay and lesbian event saying that the LNP were instrumental for the same-sex marriage plebiscite passing or anything to do with LGBTQI rights, if they are stupid enough to stand there and actually believe that, they deserve to have shit thrown at them. I'm sorry. I don't condone violence, but they deserve to have shit thrown at them. That's just ultimately fucking stupid.
Yeah, because I think
they shouldn't have been there.
They didn't go straight to a referendum in the first place instead of what they did
Catherine, the
as an alternative.
The reason that they did that was literally to keep people like Fred Phelps and other such like Cory Bernardi and other religious fundy fuckwits that were holding on to entirely too much fucking influence inside of the libs at the time. It was to basically shut them up, because a couple of these guys were absolutely convinced that against all of the surveys and against all of the fucking studies, that more than half of the Australian populace stood against same-sex marriage, which is complete bullshit. Now, there's been some calls afterwards that the same-sex marriage plebiscite was called so that way they could do some funky things with the money that was given out to make the plebiscite happen. Now, whether or not that actually happened, I don't know. Without the papers right in front of me, I can't say yes or no to that. But what I can say, without a shadow of a doubt, was that it was a waste of time, money, and all it did was made the lives of the LGBTQI people way more fucking difficult for way too fucking long, while that bullshit and no campaign going on and all of that sort of stuff. Hate crimes went up.
It was so stressful.
Like it was absolutely horrible. And to be honest with you, there's part of me that wouldn't be surprised if little pieces of shit turd burglars like fucking Cory Bernardi were actually looking forward to seeing gay people suffer even more than what they were before this fucking plebiscite. It would not fucking surprise me if he went home at the end of the night with a big fucking smile on his face. Because, fuck them guys. Like, he's a royal piece of shit. Sorry, that is my fucking hill. Sorry.
No, it is.
Yeah, it was just really stressful having to deal with all of the vote no propaganda that was going around, and like and then hearing my father-in-law say that he voted no, because I'm not out to him, so.
Look, there was a few people
that was a bit heartbreaking.
So like Melbourne is very progressive, but like I encountered lots of no propaganda. I saw chalk drawings. I saw a guy stand out front of Flinders Street with a no painting, not a sign, a painting with the big no on it. And like he drew a crowd. Like he got a lot of hate for that, but like it was in everyone's faces, and it was awful.
Lisa, you are there. No, you disappeared again.
You had video for a split second, and now it's gone. Lisa?
Ruh-roh.
Is Ludo's toy too loud? Do I need to mute?
So far, it's not too bad. Well, here we go. Nope.
No, it's like Lisa's being abducted by aliens or something.
Do you know what the problem is? Do you know what the problem is? She's on Australian internet. That's the problem.
Yeah, I just went to mobile.
Okay, Lisa.
Work, you fucking prick.
Thank you, Don.
That was Lisa.
Fantastic.
That was Lisa in all her glory.
That was fantastic. Fucking work, you prick.
That was the most Aussie thing.
Oh God, I want a high five her. That was fucking awesome.
Try again, Lisa, if you can
She's
hear
trying
it.
again. She's trying again. Hang on a sec. My mouse isn't working. Why is my mouse not working? No, she disappeared again. In the time it took me to get my mouse to work, she disappeared again. Oh, well.
Do you know why your mouse wasn't working, Angry? It's because you didn't scream at it to start effing working to speak.
Yeah, work your fucking prick.
Although Abigail will back me up. Sometimes there is a need to swear at the computer to make it work.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Okay,
I just decided to leave the kitchen. It's being a cunt.
How you doing, Lisa?
I'm good now. You can see my sorry ass.
Yeah.
Yay!
Fuck.
Lisa, may I ask a couple of very quick questions?
Yeah?
Are you on your mobile phone or a tablet?
Yeah, ask away. Ask
Are
the
you
fuck
on?
away.
Are you on a mobile phone or a tablet, darling?
I'm on a mobile phone like a fuckwit.
Are you connected to Wi-Fi or are you using cellular data?
I was using cellular. Now I've gone to Wi-Fi. It's just all. Fuck you! Hang on. I better close down Instagram. Close all the other apps. Fuck the apps. The apps can go to hell. Fuck off TikTok. No, I comments, messages, just YouTube studio, camera. Just shut that Snapchat. Just shut that shit down. All of it. Just go. Just try that.
Wow.
I love it because I can relate.
You were so worried about, boobs out being the problem with your YouTube channel. I think she's going to get a band on you, mate.
Trying to get.
Oh, fuck you! That's it. I'm resetting the phone. I'll be back in a minute. Fuck this. Turn it back on. I hate this. Fuck you, internet. Fuck you.
Oh, shit.
Have you been outsourcing your anger?
Apparently.
Okay, Mega Leech, I wish I had clipped this for my soundboard. That would have been
my sides hurt right now. Oh my god. That is fantastic. Oh my god.
Well, Abigail, you can go back through when it's uploaded.
Al from 2001 doing a massive freak out. Like the computer.
I tell you what, though. If she ever got angry, I think I'd run a fucking mile. Holy shit.
Yeah, I think I would leave the country.
Yeah.
You would change your name. You go into witness protection.
Yeah. You go to the cops. What's the problem? Lisa's mad at me.
We know.
When I hear that kind of shit at the pub, I'm like, okay, time to go home.
They can turn around and say, well, we don't know any Lisa. Just show them this clip and they're like, right, okay, so off to Never Never Land with you. All right, let's make this happen.
Change your name. Change your name. Jesus.
Wow,
that was excellent.
Did anybody see the parodies that various radio stations done of different songs out there to donate various towns in and around Australia?
No.
One of the more famous ones that spread like wildfire around New South Wales, there's a suburb not far from me called Minto. But everybody that lives in Minto does not pronounce it Minto. They pronounce it Minnow. Because Australia. So you've got to picture Minto to the theme of Macho Man. Minto Man, I want to be a minnow man. But you move on from that, and then it's minnow. There's no T in minnow.
Oh, we've got Lisa back. There we go.
Oh, Lisa's here. No.
Frozen angry face.
Lisa, just talk to us. Just talk to us with your voice, sweetheart. It's fine. We can hear you.
Oh my god.
Okay. So about that whole witness protection thing, I feel like as if I should be going for that right now.
I'm one of the faceless men of Labour.
Yeah. We can hear you. Just go with audio. That's fine.
I think I'll just leave it with audio. I mean, this is just shit. I just did a live stream on Instagram and actually had an audience for a change, so that was actually fun.
You're coming through loud and clear on audio, Lisa, so it's okay.
I just hate the fact you can't see me because I'm actually not wearing a bra.
I never wear a bra.
Oh, goodness gracious.
Except when I'm only wearing a bra.
Well, no, I have clothes on. Thank God.
Yeah. I think I noticed that for the 5 seconds you were on screen.
Yeah, for the 5 seconds that you're on screen, we noticed clothing. Yeah.
Okay, that's good because I'm being a true hipster now and I'm massaging kale.
Oh, hey,
Nice.
massaging kale. Okay.
Yeah. So you put olive oil on it with salt and pepper, and then you rub it until it does something.
Until it does something.
Apparently, it just makes it taste better because, you know, who in their fucking right mind eats kale raw?
Yeah.
Oh no, you don't eat it raw. You gotta cook it. You gotta cook it.
Kale, yeah.
This you massage it with oil so that way it doesn't taste as bad because it's raw.
It's not good for you to eat it raw. You gotta cook it.
Why?
Because it's got this like enzyme in it, or it's got something in it that you're not supposed to have raw.
Well, in that case, then I'm cooking it.
You gotta. It's best if you cook it.
I'm gonna cook it now.
Yeah, there's a lot of foods out there that are better to eat cooked rather than raw, not just because it might be poisonous to you if it is raw, but also because cooking a lot of foods out there, it unlocks various types of sugars and salts that aren't there without cooking. That enhances flavor, but also gives you more nutrients.
I would hate to eat poutine cold.
Yeah.
One of the things that we learnt in studying evolution is the invent of cooking meat is why we were able to gain the energy that is required to run our big fat sacks called a brain. The amount of power that we need in order to run that, just to sit there and veg out in front of the TV, you're using over half your caloric intake per day just to fuel your brain watching TV. Yeah.
Wow. No, that's why vegans are weird.
It's one of the reasons why babies are so useless until age 4, and yet all across the animal kingdom, like babies can walk, like let alone like you know they can eat and walk and do all these complex tasks. And because like our brains are so much bigger than our body, we look freakish. And so we're born early because our brain, otherwise our heads would be too big.
And it would just like you just wouldn't be able to give birth. Without exploding.
But you can't start on regular food too young, else it can actually give you brain damage if you eat.
Of course.
Foods
because
too young.
We've got freaky heads compared to other primates.
Yes, I had cousins where that happened to, when they were feeding her regular meals at 6 months old, and then she got brain damage.
Oh, Jesus!
I was so mad.
That's probably. Oh God, I wouldn't know. Actually, it could
just
be
cruelty.
The animal proteins.
Although
the animal proteins in it.
Although I will say that the primate with the weirdest fucking head by far and away has got to be the proboscis monkey. They're the ones with those gigantic noses that like come out to here.
Yeah.
If anybody's curious, Google them.
Yeah,
they are the weirdest looking bloody things.
And apparently the natives in that area call them the white man monkey.
Oh, that's me.
Oh, wow.
Fair enough.
I know, I got a weird head because I got an acquired brain injury.
Oh, sorry to hear that, Lee.
I was going to say, I was so mad.
Sorry, I was just looking up pictures of the monkey.
Catherine's just looking up proboscis monkey.
I was just a weird monkey.
I had never heard of or seen them until one of our uni lecturers showed us, and I was like, "The fuck is that?" It was the most amazingly surreal thing I'd ever seen.
I met a first lecturer who impersonated Pauline Hanson.
You can impersonate Pauline Hanson quite easily. You just sit there and look like a
pants down.
Yeah.
Oh, there was a rumor that went around for ages that was one of her sons, apparently.
Put a red mop on your head and drive an ice pick into your frontal lobe, and you'll get a flawless Pauline Hanson.
Ice picks in your frontal lobes. I've been listening to the last podcast on Earth, and they did a section on episode on lobotomy, and an episode of the J.F. Kennedy's sister lobotomy so bad she ended up
that was tragic.
Like being like maybe 4 years old, like mentally.
Yeah.
Oh no, that's my distant cousin you're talking about.
Past, like until the year 2000 and something.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, lobotomies. Sorry, go ahead, Angry.
I was just going to say, JFK's dad was a monster. He was an
he was.
Because they were worried he would make the family look bad, so they institutionalized
she was
her, then lobotomized her.
It is one of those very, very, very dark times of medical sciences that that like historians and medical experts kind of sit there and go, yeah, that was really bad. Was the entire thing with the blanket lobotomies? Oh, you're a bit depressed. Here's an ice pick, you know.
Yeah, Rosemary had undiagnosed autism.
Yeah.
And so they were like, how do we deal with this difficult child? Cut bits of her brain out.
Yeah, they were using it for women who had like postnatal depression and all of that.
There's a very famous case of one where they did a lobotomy on a man and they found that they basically removed his personality without them even realizing it.
Yeah.
And he had no short-term memory whatsoever.
Yeah.
And they basically, I think it was for migraines or headaches or something like that. And they realized over time, I remember reading the whole study on it, it was really, really fucked. But the reality was that they just didn't know any better. That's just
there's arguments against that point, actually. Against that point, apparently, and now I am speaking on hearsay only. There is no hard evidence, so disclaimer.
Okay. Yeah,
but
cool.
the hearsay that I have been shown was that there were some medical practitioners around the globe that were kind of like, stop this shit.
There were.
Worst thing in the world. And they were basically laughed at. They were told that they didn't know what they were talking about or that their science wasn't accurate or anything like that. So, you know, as always with a lot of various things out there, there's always a group of people who are against it, sometimes rightly and sometimes wrongly. You know,
but it's like the scientist the doctor that invented hand washing. He was basically laughed into obscurity.
It wasn't that he was washing his hands and he was laughed at. It was what he was saying that washing your hands prevented, because he said that it prevents these invisible germs from being passed from you to another, and people didn't understand or didn't know about the theory of germ disease at that time. His paper was laughed at, but he himself was actually respected as a doctor, as a surgeon. So it was a case of when people were working with him, he was like, I don't care if you agree with it or not, wash your fucking hands before we go on to this next patient. It was that.
And that reduced the number of women dying in childbirth.
Yeah, they saw a dramatic decrease in people getting sick from patient to patient to patient in the places where he was working, and absolutely implementing that. So, you were 100% on that one.
Good movie that touches on that and is also really good about the topic is Hysteria.
The Wandering
Female Hysteria,
Yeah, where it starts with a guy getting kicked out of a hospital because he practiced germ theory. And it's like, keep on changing the bandages every day, blah, blah, blah. Wash your hand, blah, blah, blah. Went into private practice for hysteria, got RSI, and then created the vibrator.
Yeah.
Really good.
And they was
God bless him. Like,
hey, Toby.
Anyway, I always love.
Hey, Toby.
Hello. I always love bringing up Steely Dan.
Steely Dan.
Okay, you know the band Steely Dan.
Yes, that's what I thought you were talking about.
That's one of my mum's favorite bands.
Yeah.
Like, it's one of those boomer bands.
Definitely.
But every time they come on, I love pointing out where they got their name from, and that was Oh, you can see where this is going.
I see where it's going.
It was from the Naked Lunch. There was a steam-powered dildo.
It was a powered dildo. Okay.
A steam-powered dildo.
Steam-powered dildo.
Called the Steely Dan.
And it was called Steely Dan, and that's where they got the name from.
Oh my god!
Oh,
okay,
no.
Because that's what they had back in the day.
You know how there's always a cheap Chinese knockoff of various things out there? There's the cheap Chinese knockoff iPhone and the cheap Chinese knockoff of this and that and the other. One of the funniest things that I ever saw. Hey, Nettie.
Hi, Nettie.
One of the funniest things that I ever saw. There was a masturbatory tool for men out there called the Fleshlight.
Yes.
And if anybody doesn't know what that is, go ahead and Google it. Anyway, there was a cheap Chinese.
Guess what it is.
There was a cheap Chinese knockoff of that, and it was called the Toss Socket. And it is now my favorite all-time insult. When I am driving along and somebody does something stupid in front of me, oh yeah, bloody toss socket! It's really good.
That's amazing.
Yeah, when I was a child, they suggested to my mother, because I've got autism as well as ADHD, oh, he should have Ritalin, and my mom's like, no effing way.
But I mean, it's amphetamine, so it's dangerous. But
well, not if you have ADHD, then it doesn't have the same effect.
A lot of doctors out there these days, they're not as happy to prescribe things like Ritalin. They understand more about ADD and ADHD now, that they understand that certain structures or rules or dietary requirements can help just as much as Ritalin or Adderall or whatever you want to call it. And they try to use it more as assisted treatment now as opposed to the treatment.
Okay. So the take-home message from that is, if you've got some Ritalin at home and your doctor has told you, not to administer it to your child anymore, send it to me for quick and fast free disposal.
Drugs is about illegal, dude.
I went to a club last year and I ran into a guy who had ADHD, and he was actually selling his Ritalin capsules for $5 a pop to all the kids.
Yeah, you can make money on that.
And he was making good money. Like, he was making drinking money.
Yeah, he's making bank.
And I said to him, I was like, what are you doing this for? He goes, well, I've got ADHD, but I don't take them all. So I thought, fuck it, I might as well make some money off it. And I'm like, well, how much do you charge? He goes, oh, $5 a pop, and I've already made $125 tonight.
That's a lot.
Shit.
I bought them.
Yeah.
Wow.
No, when I was in uni, there were guys going around all the time going, "Hey, it's study time. We've got some Ritalin." You know, that was very common. That was very common.
Yeah. That's the Ritalin. I think that's the slow release stuff.
Yeah.
It's just
that's the stuff that lasts for hours.
Yeah, look, the guys on it. I knew it. You just took meds.
Then there's Adderall, which is dexamphetamine, and that's the quick release stuff. That's
Dex.
Dexy.
Yeah, that's what Trump's.
I know that well because my boyfriend has
ADHD,
and
just to say, Adderall is what Trump snorts before he does his bloody public.
Actually, it's a shame my camera's dead. It's a shame my camera's dead because we're actually editing a reaction video I did to the presidential debate.
Oh God!
She only did like a 5-minute highlight reel.
See that?
Oh,
You know, it was a hell of a thing where the vice presidential debate was actually way better than the fucking presidential debate.
Yeah.
I didn't watch it.
Sure.
I mean, not saying much because Mike Pence is still a cunt, but.
I just hope you don't get a copyright strike.
I watched it for just pure entertainment value. Like
I do my level best not to drop the C-bomb, but with certain people it just fits. And Mike Pence is a cunt.
Mike Pence is an asshole that deserves to be shot on sight, in my opinion. In my opinion.
I mean,
Mike Pence doesn't have to be shot, but my opinion is he should.
Shit cunt.
Being for the fact that he's in America, I wouldn't say that because it could happen.
There are too many people with guns there. Yeah.
Well, according to Donald Trump, Antifa is a thing.
Mike Pence is a toss sucker.
Yeah.
No, don't give him that label. That makes it a good thing.
Yeah, no, a toss socket actually can give you some relief. So
yeah.
Well, I mean, it was kind of proven that he's a pile of garbage because a fly landed on him.
that was hilarious.
That's so good.
Well, when my mum asked them why she should give me Ritalin, they're like, because it's the shut up drug.
Oh, what?
Yikes.
Wow.
And they're like, and he keeps telling us that the sun is a star.
Oh
and
my
he's a
God.
liar.
Well,
So
the sun is a star.
compulsive liar because I said
The sun is a star. Yes.
I know.
That's the point, I think.
Yeah.
Whoever that doctor is, they're assholes.
A friend of mine, their oldest daughter is pretty damned Asperger's, like from mini Asperger's to maxi Asperger's. She's right up the other end of the scale there. So she has a bit of a possessiveness about things that she learns. So every now and again you'll go over to her place and she's just learned something new in school. We're talking she's just turning 12 this year, so still fairly young. And every now and again you'll rock up over there and she'll want to tell you all about this new thing that she learnt in school. And you do the adult, not piece of shit human being thing of sitting there and going, oh yeah, no, that's amazing. Yeah, no, that's really good. You don't sit there and go, well, there's all of this other information that you don't have about it. And there are people out there that honestly believe that paying the lip service, if you will, for lack of a better terminology, to her is not good for her cognitive development. And it's like, you don't understand what the fuck is happening with her cognitive fucking gears right now. Like the best trained neuroscientists in the world are still battling to find out what the hell is happening in the brain of somebody with Asperger's on any fucking level, let alone the rest of everything else that's going on.
I love kids.
So you cannot fucking stand there and tell me that it should be this way or that way or the other way.
Like, I love it.
She's probably processing like my kids do that,
Yeah,
it's how you process. You hear it come out your own mouth and goes straight back into your own brain. And when someone else is going, then, you'll reinforce and like, okay, I'm doing right. I'm doing right.
Yeah. I love it. Like, I love kids, and I love it when they come to me. It's like, trying to tell me stuff that I already know. I'm still like, oh wow, that's so cool. Like,
no, tell me more. Yeah. And it's just because we're not pieces of shit human beings. But
that. Like,
yeah, they do. But it's more the people that honestly believe that they know better than like a kid with various cognitive
just
impairments.
trying to dominate.
They know better than their parents, or they know better than their doctors, or they know better than society.
You know what a good book to read about that is?
Sorry, a good book to read about what? Sorry, Lisa?
You should read Hannah Hart's book, Buffering, because she actually has ADHD.
Right.
And she didn't get diagnosed till she was an adult.
Okay.
And she talks about how she went through a diagnosis. It's hilarious, but it also gives you an insight into somebody who was undiagnosed until adulthood and how it actually affected them.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, the reason she got diagnosed was because she did a world tour, took on a book deal and a movie deal within a year, done the world tour, got back and had 2 weeks to finish a book and do a movie, and then realised she had a problem. And she talks about how she went. It's very funny.
She's like that all the time.
She's an amazing writer, but like it's very funny about how she got to that diagnosis. So she just had to find the right doctor and get the right. And she talks about how she had to get the right medication and all that kind of stuff. But like, it's kind of like if this was picked up earlier, it would have made a massive difference.
There's so many different treatments.
Sorry, I'm going to interrupt. It's just past 10 o'clock. I'm going to go to the loo. This is anyone in the chat. This is, and I'll just put the link in there again.
Last call.
Last chance if you want to
last call for the Angry Bunch.
All right, and then we're in for the after party
and come back and then cut off the stream. So
no worries at all.
fairly warned me.
Yeah, it's like
No worries, Angry.
It's
Yeah, no,
it's so
this-
funny when you get diagnosed as an adult, like, because my boyfriend, he got his ADHD diagnosis like in his 30s, and when he got it, and he came to me like it was some revelation, like, turns out I have ADHD. I'm like, yeah, I could have told you that. and then when I got and then I realized that I'm autistic and I got my autism diagnosis, he was like, yeah, I could have told you that.
Yeah. It's always the thing.
Funnily enough, it was my partner who diagnosed me. She was studying early childhood, and just came home one day, like she'd just been like, she's got like electricity running through, and it's like, okay, sit down. I want you to just have an open mind about this, and just blurted all this information. I'm like, holy crap. Okay, I think I'll get tested. And I got tested, and sure enough.
The diagnostic criteria for ADHD and Asperger's and all of that sort of stuff, it's so, it can be so very vast at times that a lot of people show all of these different little bits and pieces. So they stand around self-diagnosed as Asperger's or ADHD or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's one thing to think that you may be in that group, and if you say I may be, but I haven't gone out to see a professional to get diagnosed, that's one thing. But if you're looking at the symptoms and you fit a couple of those symptoms, don't go standing there saying that you are or you aren't, because I'm going to give you a little bit of a piece of frightening information on that one. Almost every single person on the face of the planet will share symptoms that are very symptomatic of stage 4 very horrible cancers. It doesn't mean that you've got cancer.
Yeah.
Not by any stretch of the imagination.
Yeah,
I was diagnosed with ADD when I was 11, 12, and they put me on meds. And I remember the first day, these meds were take at night meds. First time my mum gave them to me, she gave them to me at lunchtime.
Oh, okay.
And then I went for a haircut. And I was
oh no.
falling asleep having this haircut. It's like,
It does.
Just adding on to what Grasshopper was saying. Like when I mentioned that I'm on the spectrum, there are some people who will go, oh well, we're all kind of on the spectrum a bit. I'm like, no, you're not.
No,
that's not how it works.
No, it's not.
Yeah, I hate when
if you were, if that were the case, then there wouldn't be a word for it.
Yeah.
Say goodbye to the live stream, everybody. We
got a live stream.